The Leper of St. Giles is a 1981 novel by Ellis Peters, or Edith Pargeter, as Peters is just a pen name for Pargeter. It is the fifth book in the Cadfael Chronicles, and it is set in autumn, or October, specifically in the year 1139, which is only shortly after the previous book. Outside of Shrewsbury, at the hospital of St. Giles, Brother Cadfael heads to give some medicines to that he has made for the lepers in residence at St. Giles. The problem, of course, there is always one in these books. Although it's never a start in the middle of things, we get a little setup, and sometimes that setup is pretty strict as to, we need it, right? It's going to give us hints and whatnot. Other times, it's not as important. I would say here it is a bit more important. There is going to be a wedding between a much older man and a considerably younger girl to take place. She does not love this man and seems forced into the marriage, and the man himself, is not very likable. So let's get it set up with some of the background and then some of the characters. So we have Empress Matilda, who, of course, doesn't really play a role in this, at least directly. She is back in England, and having made her way from Arundel to Bristol at this point. Bristol supporting her claim to the throne very strongly. Also have Jocelyn, who does not like his master and seems to care very much for Yvetta, and a sense that there is a problem here, maybe he loves her. He is hot-headed about the lack of noble character his master shows. Simon, the eldest, tries to watch out for Jocelyn. And then we also have Guy, who's the youngest of the squires and is really not that important of a character. Yvetta is young enough to be her betrothed's granddaughter. She seems kind and generous, saddened by her fate, and the fate of becoming the Lady of Domville, but maybe set in this fate, and she seems like she will do what she needs to do for her fate as well. There's also Lazarus, which is obviously not his real name, but a peculiar leper. I would put this in quotation marks, leper. He seems likely to actually have some other ailment, but is considered a leper all the same. But he actually has some great height and very piercing eyes, and is also the leper that the book is named for. You can see him on the screen right there. There's also Sir Godfried Picard and his wife Agnes. They are the guardians of Yvetta, but particularly they're the uncle and aunt of Yvetta. And of course we have Juan de Domville, the man himself, who is about 60, that Yvetta is to marry, and a victim of a crime that Cadfael is set to solve. And there's also the less important conflict of Brother Oswin, who watches over Cadfael's duties for him sometimes. He manages to ruin and break things, though he tries in the herbarium. One such failure leads to an important plot point, actually. We also have Yvetta, who, again, is a Massard, and seems to be related to a crusader that Cadfael was familiar with, because Cadfael was a crusader who died, seemingly at Ascalon. There is a lovely bringing to life here of the medieval world, also of the human heart and soul. I mean, in a strictly medieval sense in a lot of ways, but, pretty close to what we have today still. I think Peters has a way with words that is really simple, but very effective. As before, we have hot-headed youths and their intuitions and dangerous circumstances, and their infatuations, rather. The meddling of adults as well, be they common or cleric nobility, that hinder matters, in some sense, even hinder Cadfael's investigations from time to time. And there are crimes aplenty, not just against one figure as well. So we do have lots of stuff going on in this one. I think the intrigue in this one is taken to a new level. The story escalates throughout until it climaxes, and all is made clear, of course. The criminality is not normal compared to prior books. We have lots more being unveiled, though some of it is still obvious, not all is clear. It is very pleasant either way, and it is a very enjoyable experience with some surprises and it's a very good time throughout. It's a rather short novel, of course. Apparently, this novel was ranked number 42 in the 1990 list of the top 100 crime novels of all time by the British Crime Writers Association, which is interesting to note, I guess. And then I'll just close with a couple quotes, actually, from the book itself. I think they showcase the simple effectiveness of Peter's language, again with a medieval sense, right? A much more religious world than we tend to live in these days. So anyways, the thing about fear, said Cadfael, seriously considering, is that it is pointless. When need arises, fear is forgotten. Would you recoil from taking a leper's hand if he needed yours? Or are you his, to be hauled out of danger? I doubt it. Some men would perhaps, but of you I doubt it. You would grip first and consider afterwards, and by then fear would be clearly a mere waste of time. Then we have, I pray God help her, said Mark fervently. It may be, said Brother Cadfael, rather to himself than to his friend, that he intends to, but it may also be that he has a right to expect a little support from men and setting about it. Thanks for watching.